Good evening and welcome to Electronic Game Information and our special Quarant-Egi version of the show. We are going to get to our Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning coverage very soon, but first, these headlines. The Xbox Live Unhalloween sale is still live. You can save up to 80% off a selection of Halloween horror games at the beginning or the end of spring, up to 80%. You can click the button. If this was a website, I would press this button right here. That would be a hyperlink to the page that brings me to all of the wonderful game sales. You could be saving 80%, up to 80%. I mean, that's quite a lot. Very generous of Microsoft to be helping us out with these in these tough times with a great Xbox Live and Unhalloween sale. 6 more days. What kind of games can you look forward to getting on sale? Well, how about Remothered Tormented Fathers? Remothered Tormented Fathers has been marked down from $29.99 to $10.49. This is a scary game. This is a horror game. Remothered Tormented Fathers, where you are discovering what happened to the father or the mother. It is unclear to me from this image who's doing what, but unfortunately, we can only assume because we don't have time to play it with all of the Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning gameplay that we have to do. Next up on the Xbox Unhalloween sale is Vambrace Cold Soul. Vambrace Cold Soul has been marked down from $24.99 to $14.99 if you're a fan of roguelike games, if you're a fan of Darkest Dungeon, but you just kind of wanted all the depth to be stripped out of it, then you might enjoy Vambrace Cold Soul, a game that asks the question, do you fear? What do you fear? It's a horror game. It's a kind of game where four characters go into a dungeon together, and there's ranged attacks and brutish attacks, and you can defend or run or power up your special attack and hit back at the enemies for $14.99. I don't know what the word Vambrace means. It seems like a great word though. So Vambrace could be like, obviously makes you think of the word embrace. So don't fear the Vambrace or the embrace. Don't fear $24.99 because it is $14.99 for 6 more days. The sale is live, EGI exclusive. This just in, 6 more days for the Xbox Live Unhalloween. Beginning of spring, beginning or the end of spring. For 6 more days. Dead Effect 2 is of course marked down from $11.99 to $4.79. If you've been a fan of first-person shooter games on tablets, then you will probably be a fan of Dead Effect 2 because it started on the tablets and now it is on the Xbox Live Unhalloween sale. It's a scary game. It's a frightening game. You wonder what the effect of being dead is. Well, this game will answer your questions. You can actually go. This just in. We have the actual web address for the game Dead Effect 2 on the Xbox Unhalloween sale. If you go to Microsoft.com/n/us/p/Dead Effect-2 /C19X513V5F52 ? Then one word active tab equals pivot : overview tab. So that'll take you right to the Dead Effect 2 sale page where you can buy this wonderful game that used to be on tablets on a fully featured modern console. That is our Xbox Unhalloween sale coverage, and so we're going to dive right into the big news of today, which is, of course, the Mario Maker 2 update will be launching tomorrow. Mario Maker 2 update is going to add a slew of new features, a slew of new elements and costumes, and the biggest, I think the biggest thing of all for me, which is that is allowing Mario Maker creators, level designers, all these people who have worked so hard to create Mario Maker 2 levels, it will allow them to create an overworld that will sort of wrap all of their Mario Maker 2 levels together into one giant, it's essentially what they're doing is they're allowing people to make full Mario games for the first time. Usually, at first, it was just Mario Maker 2 levels, Mario Maker levels. But now it's a full game. Up to 40 levels at the time of reporting can be added to a single overworld map, so you can travel around the map like you would in a Mario World game or Donkey Kong Country, and you can expect that some people are really going to take advantage of all of the wonderful new tips and tricks that are coming with that new update. If you'd like to know more, you could watch the actual reveal of the update at youtube.com/watch !V equals NAB. And I have it capitalized, but make sure you do not capitalize it. NABEP5 OGYGM, or watch it at http://www.nintendo.com/detail/super.mario-maker-2-switch. And if you scroll about 2/3 of the way down, you'll find the actual press release about the update. It's not the video that you would find if you went to YouTube, if you want to so you just read that. And if you scroll all the way down, you just see the link to the previous update press release. And that was the news. So Alan, we're going to bring in EGI special correspondent Alan Resnick. He's here tonight. How are you doing, Alan?
Robby?
Yes.
Hey, Robby, I can hear you.
Hey, Alan, if before we get to what we need to get to, I'd like to get to something that we don't need to get to, but it's been on my mind. It's this Mario Maker 2 update.
Yeah. Wow, how cool.
And it seems to me that the Mario Maker 2 thing that's allowing people to make full-on Mario Maker games.
Right.
Full-on games. I mean, they're talking about a world map with up to 40 levels contained on the map.
I think it's very exciting.
It's very exciting, but to me, it is it. You know, they talk a lot about the end of history, you know, back in that sort of those heady times between the fall of the Soviet Union and the terrorist attacks on 9/11, 2001.
I remember that.
And I wonder if we haven't reached some sort of equivalent time period with the 2D Mario games.
What do you mean by that? That's such a strong, bold statement, and it's actually
confusing. We've essentially Nintendo. What they've done is they've taken all of the tool sets that you need to make a 2D Super Mario game, Mario Maker game,
right,
in Mario Maker 2. And it's sort of like, will we ever see new Super Mario Brothers U again?
Absolutely. They're not giving up on Mario. He's just too popular. If anything, his star is rising.
If anything, his star is rising. So let's hope that we don't see something as dark and terrible as 9/11 2001 terrorist attack for the 2D Mario games. And I'll just kind of stew on that for a second.
Yeah, I just want to jump in and say I don't think that kind of a tragedy would ever happen.
No, not in Mario Maker. Alan, I understand that you have a special report again tonight. So,
yeah, Robby, I do have a special report on the game that you asked me to do a special report on, but I don't know. I just want to say I don't know why you wanted me to do a report on this game.
Well, Alan, we have this new segment. It's a new segment. It's a current segment. It's a very popular segment, I think. It's called No One Else Is Talking About This, and I couldn't think of anyone more appropriate to do the research to bring us these special reports on these often overlooked games or games that maybe people did talk about at some point, but they don't talk about anymore.
Right, I get the idea of the segment, but this game was not appropriate for me, Robby.
Well, it's a horror themed game. It's got some action in it. It's a horror and action game. You could describe it as that because it does mix two of the.
That's not what I'm talking about. This game was deeply troubling and gross, and I don't think you should have let me be exposed to this sort of content.
Well, you gotta, you have to open yourself up, Alan. You have to open up your, it's like, you could. Think of it as a sort of a vambrace. This is sort of you vambracing this game, this strange and unique game. And I don't think you should fear the vambrace.
I don't, but this is similar to what you're saying about 9/11. I feel like I aged 10 years just researching this game.
Well, let's dive right into things. Let's dive right into this news. It's a new and it's a current segment. It's a very popular segment starring EGI special correspondent in front of the show, Alan Resnick. It's a horror themed game. Now that we're on the theme of horror games, thanks to the Unhalloween Xbox Live sale, we will be doing our special report on another scary game.
Okay, things are scary enough. We don't need to do so like this.
Luigi, of course, is he could be thinking that same thing that I'm thinking of. This could be this sort of silent scream, a sort of terrified thought of just the end of history.
Well, I think that image of Luigi is extremely appropriate for what I'm about to talk about. You want me to do the report?
Yes, let's do the report. It's our new very popular segment.
The segment is called "No One Is Talking About This."
It's starring EGI special correspondent, fan of the show, friend of the show, Alan Resnick. Alan, take it away.
Shadow of the Damned, an EGI special report by special correspondent me, Alan Resnick. No one is talking about this. Why? Why is no one talking about Shadow of the Damned? Probably because this game is the video game industry's one nasty little secret. Shadow of the Damned is a yucky little game created by Grasshopper manufacturer.
Suda51, Grasshopper manufacturer, maker of such wonderful games as Killer 7.
Well, you wouldn't know that they made wonderful games if you had any look at Shadow of the Damned. It was published on Electronic Arts, and it is just one rare misstep in their otherwise stellar lineup of games.
Electronic Arts, of course, partially responsible for the publishing of
Shadow of the Damned.
Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
I guess they had their hands in a lot of pots. They have sticky hands. No one is talking about this, Robby. In it, you play as Demon Hunter Garcia Hotspur, and and get this, you use a gun called I don't know if you can censor it live, but it's called a big boner. And everything, I just want you to know that in my research, everything in this game is gross and shouldn't be in a game or anything. So this game tries very hard to be funny and sexy, but it fails at both. Shadow of the Damned, in my opinion, this is my special report, gives sex and sexuality a bad name because it makes everything weird and scary.
I have to interrupt you there because without Shadows of the Damned, I mean, what the Shadows of the Damned to me is sort of, it's connected right to the No More Heroes franchise, and that the sort of lead designer is in Suda51 is involved with both.
No one is talking about this, Robby, so I don't actually know the answer.
Well, the answer, of course, is yes. So the Travis touchdown, of course, is the big character, very very crude character. You know, some people say that he hasn't aged well, and I'm not going to push back against that. But I will say those No More Heroes games do have quite a unique flavor to them. They have an energy to them, a vitality.
You're the No More Heroes expert, so I'll have to take your word for it. But this game has a flavor of and it has a flavor of yucky shit and piss. And people don't like this game because it is like if you went into the gutter and you found a rotting body and made a game out of that. It's yucky. But there is one bright spot that I found in my research, and it is strawberries.
Well, Alan, if I could stop you for a second, this is a third-person shooter, isn't it?
Yes.
Take it away.
And so the one thing I liked about this game were the strawberries, because in it you get to feed strawberries to your demon friend. Your demon friend is a skull who's named after human genitals and is also a gun with a gross name.
Absolutely. So you're sort of wandering through these wonderful levels. These are hyper stylized, very frightening, terrifying levels filled with danger, creatures from beyond the stretch of imagination that we think that the human mind is capable of.
That's absolutely right.
And you are shooting them with a gun,
a yucky gun.
But is it? And it's
yucky gun. It's named after. I don't know if you can see it, but it's named after the part of the man that's gross, and it's bad. It's not fun in a game. I think games in general, this is just a personal thought. They should be fun adventures you go on, not sick nightmares. One thing I did like about the game, though, is there's this one scene where you get to go find your girlfriend, and she's like big, like the size of almost like a big boat or a yacht. And I thought that was kind of an interesting, it was one of the few parts of the games where I thought, hey, this is actually really artistic. Because you could ride on the boat, your girlfriend, as if she was like a big boat.
Alan, if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like you, even though you had some trouble with the game, you sort of embraced it at the end.
I did. I have trouble with a lot of the concepts of the game were hard for me to understand because they didn't disturb me and make me feel bad like a sad person. But I did embrace certain like just one or two elements, basically the strawberry element and the big boat girlfriend element. Other than this was a creepy game. It was unkind and weird, and no one is talking about that. And I think that's a good thing. And it's a nasty secret. We should keep it a secret. Back to you, Robby.
Well, here's the thing about Alan is that we do embrace secrets on this show. So we're gonna keep doing whatever we can to embrace the unknown, to embrace the obscure, and to embrace the cold soul.
I love you, Robby, and I wish I will embrace you 2 nights a week because EGI has gone double the dose.
Absolutely,
of EGI.
This is the most.
I'm embracing
this is
that.
one of the most exciting parts about doing the show on a Tuesday evening here in beautiful Los Angeles, California, is that we do get to do the show 2 nights a week for the next 4 weeks, Alan.
Despite all the tragedy, we get to do it twice a week.
And so who knows if we'll be able to actually make it to the Xbox Live on Halloween sale and get some of these wonderful games that are on sale up to 80% off some of these games. And I don't want to, I get keyed up.
Yes.
Talking about this stuff. I mean, this is great stuff. Shadows of the Damned is a great horror game. Great action game.
It is not good,
and it is also, it's just kind of it's bugging me that it does not have a sale page on the Xbox Live on Halloween sale.
Well, it's one of video games' original sins, and it's something that they've buried away like a grandparent who has passed.
So I want to kind of use all this extra pent-up energy that I have to sort of, I have it. It's sort of like rising in me, and normally I have an outlet for it, which is, I would go to the gym and I would be around a lot of other people who look like me, and we would just kind of all be just kind of, I don't know what you call it, sort of emanating, or perhaps like radiating all of that stress that I feel right now because of what we've been talking about. All that stress, all of that manic energy that doesn't go anywhere these days.
Can I back up a second? You telling me that there's a place you go where everyone looks like you?
Well, I used to before they shut it down. Although tell my credit card company that because they're still charging me membership fees.
Well, that's Hollywood's best kept secret. Because if I had known that there was a whole room of Robbies, I would be there. I would have been there yesterday.
All right. Well, listen, we have to relax because we have a good 40 minutes of the show left. So we have to make sure that we're in the right headspace to get into the next act of the show, which is when we get to go back into the crazy world of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning now.
So join me, if you will, Alan. We're going to do a bit of a relaxation exercise before we watch some soothing first-person shooter footage, soothing 90s, mid to late 90s first-person shooters footage. So if you can, just take some deep breaths with me. Lean back in your chair. Close your eyes. Kind of imagine all that stress, all of that frustration, not being able to see the games that you want to see on sale on the Xbox Live on Halloween sale. Maybe they were on the spring sale. You missed that, but don't worry, there's another sale coming. There always is. And a good chance that good chance that Dead Effect 2 could drop in price down from $6 or $7.99 to $3 or $2.99. And isn't it nice when a game that was on a tablet can be played with a controller?
Yeah.
So imagine Dead Effect. Okay. Imagine Dead Effect 2 is $1.99.
Wow.
On the back of your eyelids, just look and see. What do you see?
I see a discounted Dead Effect cartridge, video game cartridge.
No, it's not a cartridge. It's download only.
Oh, it's download. It's a download certificate, but it's cheap as hell.
It's cheap. It's down from $11.99 to $1.99, and you've got a discount code. One of those rare discount codes that gives you an extra 20% off.
I'm so sleepy.
All right. Now that we are fully relaxed, let's go ahead and watch that soothing mid to late 90s FPS footage.
Okay.
Here, an EGI exclusive. Play the video. Whew. Well, I don't know about you, Alan, but that really fixed it up for me.
I feel like someone slipped $1 million in my pocket.
That's great. And that's of course Congo, the movie, The Lost City of Zinj on the Sega Saturn, one of the great mid to late 90s first-person shooters from a time when before people knew how to make them.
Very cool game.
Alan, are you ready to dive right into our Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning coverage?
Yes, Robbie, but I do have a little bit of a request, if I may.
A request.
I saved up all my money. I got a copy of Half-Life Alyx and a VR headset. You know the new Half-Life game?
Yes.
Do you think we could play it on EGI? I think people love the Half-Life franchise. I think it could be a popular segment if I played Half-Life Alyx.
Well, I don't know about if I would want to do that, but I tell you what, since we do have this nifty setup where we can have multiple windows open at the same time, why don't you go ahead and play Half-Life Alyx while I play Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, and we'll do that next Tuesday.
It's a date.
It's a date. All right.
Next
well,
Tuesday
that's
or Thursday. We could do it Thursday too, because we have two shows.
Well, we'll see how we'll see how it goes. We want to make sure that people are focusing on Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. After all,
yes, absolutely,
this is the opportunity of a lifetime to really take this and really drill home what this game is, what it means, and what could have been. Really, I mean, because what we're doing is we're I was talking about the end of history, but now I'm also talking about history in a different way, which is that we're sort of rewriting the history of this game.
You have such a big brain, but you say all the smartest stuff, and I agree with you. I do agree.
What might have, think about this, Alan. It's like, what if this had come out and Dragon's Dogma had never come out? Then we would be focusing that on that maybe as the sort of combat-focused action RPG of that open world action RPG of that era.
I just want to say that in the chat room, CyberLex has said that would be so cool. I haven't seen Half-Life Alyx yet, so they do want to see that.
Everyone's gonna probably see Half-Life Alyx. It's a big game. It's a popular game. From what I understand, it's a beautiful game. Plays well. Really unlocks the potential of the VR headsets that have been otherwise, I think, way overblown overblown and certainly overpriced, especially in
And
the new context that we're in now, and really turn people's attention away from these classic games, these 6 or 7 to 8 out of 10 games, low 8s, 81 out of 100, 79 out of 100. That's sort of, that's where this show needs to be, Alan.
But also stay tuned, because you heard it here first, folks. We will be playing Half-Life Alyx. Back to you, Robbie. And Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which deserves our attention for sure.
Deserves our attention, is up on the screen now. We are live.
There
with
it is.
Kingdoms of Amalur. Here it is. We are we're starting right where we left off.
Yes, it looks like the same area from the past couple episodes.
Yeah, same area. So we
I hear birds
what's
chirping.
that guy up to?
Oh, okay. This is it. Just can you catch me up on the story of your character? Because I feel like
the story
I've
of my
lost the
character.
narrative.
So the fateless one. I was dead, and I was basically in a cart being carried away to a giant furnace, and then a gnome scientist used something called the Well of Souls to resurrect me and bring me back to life, so I could go on a big adventure and discover my own destiny. And what's happening now is that we had a situation a couple of episodes back where we were attacked by a group of bears.
Right.
We were very lucky to dispatch with the bears, and now we are looking for the bears that we killed in that episode, because what I would really like to do is show people the amount of detail that has gone into building this world, the amount of work to ensure that corpses remain where they fell.
So the same bears, you're going to look for the same dead bear bodies that you killed in the first episode that you tried to look for last time, but then didn't find. You found other bears. You're not looking for the second. Okay, but these.
I killed those bears.
This is interesting.
And we were able to verify that those bears stayed where they were.
So logic holds that the original bears also stayed, and something very interesting is happening right now to your character.
Yeah, so these are boggarts, and boggarts have always been an issue when you're trying to look for the bears. They're poisonous. They creep right up on you, and you have to quickly get at all of them, and they try to fight you as a group. And what you need to do is you need to sort of pull each one out individually from the pack and attack them with various magic spells and ranged attacks and of course my sword attack here. And what I'm, there's no real point to all the killing and to all the death, especially when we're really just here for the exploration and for the sort of. Yes. I really don't feel like I can go much further into the game before I show you where these bears ended up.
I understand your logic for trying to show everyone the bears again. I also want to point out that I have the Final Fantasy VII remake.
That's interesting, Alan.
It could be fun if I played that too, because there's a character in it that has that's got a sword like this, but it looks like how you dressed when you were a kid.
Well, the thing with the Final Fantasy VII remake, Alan, I have thought about it, and I have put some of my I've spent some time reading reviews, looking up some videos of the game, and I have to say it does not excite me, Alan. There's something that I feel like the time frame for a Final Fantasy VII remake to really get my attention has passed, especially since I had discovered the Kingdoms of Amalur. And so now we're approaching a castle.
Okay.
And I know
I'm not
the bears
fight. I don't want to fight you about that. No, there were no bears there.
Shield Ring Keep. So let's assume that let's just go ahead and check out and see what people are doing down in the old Shield Ring Keep. There's some guards here with some beautifully ornate spears and armor. If you look at that armor, it's all these different plates locked together in a kind of scalloping, I think is the word that they use when you pile sheets on top of that, like on top of each other, metal sheets.
Maybe. I can't tell if it's metal because this game doesn't seem to have any specularity whatsoever, so nothing shines or.
Well, we
just all looks.
Can only assume that the specularity may have been patched in at a later time, and I just may not have installed that patch. I mean, we're not talking about the patches that come out for this game don't get big press releases like Mario Maker 2.
In the Final Fantasy game, the graphics are incredible. Where are the bears? my man.
I'm looking for him. I mean, when you look at a game like this, you have to really ask yourself, all the people, all these individual elements, all these trees and houses and houses with windows and walls and lamps and Arden's hut, all of these things came out of somebody's imagination. Someone drew them on a piece of paper, or maybe they drew them on a tablet.
No.
And then they transmitted that idea into the computer, and then a man or a woman or someone made that person's drawing into the thing that we're looking at now in this fully 3D space. I think isn't that one of the most incredible things about the games industry, is how people can manage to do such things.
Yeah, I really wish you got to make the game that you made up, because for everything you're saying right now about the game design, how amazing it is, it's like, when I know exactly what you mean, and when we talk about that and we talk about the idea of you making a game that you made up, I just think it would look amazing, and it'd be like Kingdoms of Amalur, but like on acid, in a dream.
I'm just going to interrupt you there. This is EGI exclusive. The big spider showed up. The big spider is here. It is in town. It is attacking the village. It is a giant spider. It is a massive creature, and it is surrounded by a cohort of other smaller spiders who are up to no good. This is
amazing.
It's terrifying the villagers. They're in the village. There's 3 little spiders, 2 big spiders. This is never. People are talking about this because
people are talking about it.
People are spending too much time talking about it, Half-Life Alyx and Final Fantasy VII Remake. But if they were seeing all these venom spitters and giant spiders, they might be singing a different song or playing a different tune. Wouldn't you
Absolutely.
say so?
I do think so. And Robby, the tarantulas in Animal Crossing are worth a lot, and they are hard to catch, and they do attack the villagers like this.
No,
it's very similar, but you could sell the
because the Animal Crossing, these spiders run the town, Alan. No one else until I showed up. Imagine if I hadn't showed up. This is the kind of drama that you really have to focus on when you are talking about these types of games, because I'm this lucky son of a gun. If I hadn't showed up, he would have just been toast.
Robby, you're right. You were right, and I was wrong.
And here's some magic. So that's 1 giant spider down, 3 venom spitters, and 1 other giant spider to go. And you can see that 1 giant spider in the background is just licking his chops at looking at that villager. He wants that villager so dang bad, and these venom spitters are willing to let him have it.
This is amazing.
So let's go ahead and open up the calls. I want to see what people are saying, what people are thinking about everything that we've talked about, the updates and the sales and the Shadows of the Damned, and what people are. Look at this thing.
I can't believe it. Who's that? That guy's really freaked out.
So that's
thank the gods. Somebody find
that's Garaner Vern.
Thank the gods.
Somebody finally came. Imagine, and the helmet.
The helmet is gone.
The helmet is fully gone. So we can verify that the helmet is gone. It was there when we were fighting the spiders, but now that we're talking to Garaner Vern,
Let's happened to this town?
What happened to this town? I don't really want to know what happened to the town yet. I really want to know about Webwood.
Okay.
Old forest home to countless spiders. Stretched from here to Odor. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Nathan Peterson is here on the show. Nathan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
What's on your mind? Are you looking at the game sales on the Xbox Live on Halloween sale? Do you see anything you like? Are you excited about the Mario Maker 2 update? What are your thoughts on Shadows of the Damned?
I'm not really an Xbox person, but I am excited for the Mario Maker 2 update. That looks really cool.
We're talking. You hear what I said earlier about the end of history about the 2D Mario games?
I have a feeling that Nintendo will continue doing 2D Mario stuff if the fans demand it. I know Super Nintendo Mario World ROM hacking has been a thing for quite a while now. Absolutely. And basically what Nintendo is doing is giving them pretty much the entire groundwork for what they need to make something like, because map making is something that they've been wanting for a while now, and I think
you could make Robby. You could make Gloomsbrook.
I could possibly do something like that.
That would be fun.
We are still taking a break from that whole project.
Can I, have
Well,
a
you can
quick-
make-
can I
you can
ask a
bring-
question?
Nathan Peterson, if I could ask you a quick question, which is that, do you know where these great Super Nintendo, these Super Mario World ROM hacks are located? Can you give us the website and can you spell it out for us?
Okay, here's the thing. Not too long ago, about a couple years ago, Nintendo was cracking down on like ROM sites that had all their games on it. So it's a bit harder to find ROM hacks like out in the wild. You'd have to look for like specified forum sites that could have it. I think there's one Super Mario ROM hacks forum that is still up and running.
So it would
Definitely.
be sort of www.supermarioromhacksforum.com.
I would suggest Googling it. I don't know the exact name, but I know.
Well, we here at EGI like to make sure that things are clear and easy to understand. A lot of times you put something into Google, you don't know what's going to come up. So if you have the full, if you could give us a full readout of that web address and drop it into the chat, so people can experience for themselves that.
Okay, here it is. It's www.smwcentral.net. That is where you can find a bunch of Mario World ROM hacks. That if you're going to be going to any
This is
site for that, then that's the
Mario
one to
Maker
go.
2 is late to the game. It turns out that this has been going on for years. Thank you for your call, Nathan Peterson. Enjoy your time indoors, and we will talk to you again sometime in the future.
Bye, Nathan. I thought it was so cool that Nathan got to talk to Robby.
Yes, and Nathan was very, very articulate, and he knew what he was talking about. He obviously had a passion for these kinds of things that we talk about on the show. And you'll notice that he didn't mention anything about Half-Life Alyx or Final Fantasy VII Remake.
It just didn't come up.
Nathan Vegetable is on the show. Nathan Vegetable reporting in from a vehicle driving on the highway, which I believe is illegal right now. So
I don't think he should be doing that.
You're not condoning criminal behavior.
This feels unsafe. Okay.
Nobody puts their hands on the wheel here, Robby. I don't know what to do.
Well,
I feel like I'm watching a crime happen in real time.
I can hear you breaking the law. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Kings of Amalur, on those spiders that we just came across? You know, normally
they're pretty scary.
They're pretty scary. In most cases, the spiders are kind of like the I don't know. They're sort of the throwaway enemies of these types of games. But those spiders were big. They were mean. There was many of them, and they almost killed Garen.
Throwaway, but they're always there. You know, no matter what RPG you got, there's always going to be spiders, and they're always going to be scary.
And in Animal Crossing too. In Animal Crossing, there's tarantulas.
Right now, I'm trying to jump in the water. I know that at some point that I was able to jump in some water, so I'm just assuming that I'm missing some collision detection here, and I'm just going to kind of tap at the edges of this cliff as I sort of try to pop into this pond for a swim, maybe pick up some items. Maybe the bears are down there. We won't know until we actually reach the water itself.
Do you think that game is better than Oblivion, or how do you feel on that? Like, because to me, I'm getting Oblivion vibes.
It's got the Oblivion vibes. I know what you're saying. I can feel it. I feel like it might have, because it's got Todd McFarlane contributing character artwork among some others. Maybe Joe Madura and those kinds of sort of don't stop drawing ever kind of artists. I do believe it has a bit more of an edge in that department, but as far as just the open-endedness of the world itself, there's far more loading screens in Kingdoms of Amalur than Oblivion.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I like Todd McFarlane's stuff is pretty cool. So that's definitely an edge it has on Oblivion.
Well, you know, I'm a big Spawn fan. Well, thank you for your call, Nathan. Drive safe, break the law, do whatever you want. It's a lawless time, and we are so happy to hear your voice and see that you're doing well.
Hey, Robby, Nathan Vegetable has a Tesla.
Did
you catch that?
This came off of my controller.
What is that?
It's a textured thumb grip. You know,
are you still going to play the game without that?
Well, I want to just show you this for a second now, because these are about, you can get these for about $4 or $5 a pop. You get a little bag of 4 of them, and they really make playing these types of games a lot easier, because you are wiggling the controller around a lot.
Right.
You don't wear down the pad that comes with the controller. So to add a little extra comfort and support to that controller, you could probably also add some longevity to the controller. So I'm just trying to get the the pad back on here.
Okay,
And-
but you have extra if that one doesn't get back on.
Oh yeah, it comes with a pack of 4.
So you have more.
Yeah, but they can be a little bit touchy to get on, so you have to kind of flip it inside out like so.
And what does it feel like? And what does it feel like?
Kind of feels like the inside of like a cat's tongue almost. So if you can imagine, a cat tongue kind of gripping the tips of your thumbs.
That sounds pretty good. Okay.
Okay, well, that was Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, and we are going to take a quick break with It's the Arts, which is our
Okay, we're going to do It's the
EGI
Arts.
EGI fan art segment that we normally would show actual fan art, but we would show the physical art itself, but because I don't have a color printer, we have added it into a video file and a movie file. And that video file will be playing momentarily, and you can see some beautiful fan art that we've received here on Electronic Game Information since last Thursday.
It's the Arts.
It's the Arts.
Make me feel beautiful, so beautiful. I feel beautiful with you. La da 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 da.
We're back with the list. Alan, you ready? Are you excited for the list?
Yes, there was not a lot of art, I noticed.
There was not a lot of art because we did start the show 2 days earlier than we normally start the show, so we can only assume that people will send us more art for next time that would make me feel much better instead of bad, and we will be able to make much longer, much more involved art videos with that art that we receive.
I like when people draw pictures of Robby.
I like
And
it when
Al.
people
And
draw pictures of the show, when people draw pictures of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. I like it when people draw pictures of Van Brace.
I don't think that's it. People have done that.
No, not yet, but they will.
It's the list.
Because
What is the list?
People are talking about Van Brace for the first time. People are talking about Van Brace. People talk about Darkest Dungeon. People talk about all these roguelikes like Darkest Dungeon and
that's because of what you did, Robby. People weren't talking about it.
What you're the Darkest Dungeon expert, Alan. I'm drawing a blank here. Besides Darkest Dungeon, there's Van Brace.
There's Van Brace. There's Darkest Dungeon.
Van Brace, Darkest Dungeon.
Those are the two that pop into my head.
Those are the two pop into if you're looking for a roguelike group dungeon delving. I call it dungeon delving. People call it dungeon crawling, but I call it delving because it feels more like a delve than a crawl.
I call it dungeon delving also.
Well, I mean, the dungeon crawling just makes it sound like you're on your hands and knees, like you're like a spider, like a giant spider, or a poisonous creature in the woods. When you're looking for the bears that you come across it, and you want to crawl on the ground like that.
No, it's below me to crawl, so I delve. I don't crawl. Back to you, Robby. And what is the list? What is the list?
So, Alan, the list tonight is, of course, we've been talking a lot about sales. We've talked a lot about updates, but we're going to talk about sales a little bit more. So, the sale that is going on right now is the PlayStation Store Spring Sale, and it has a number of wonderful deals that you can go to the psn.store.com, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know, Alan. You're the expert on that, so you can verify. That would be great. But in addition to some of the great hits of the PlayStation 4 era games like the God of War, the recent God of War, not the old God of War, although maybe the old God of War.
But the recent one has really interesting graphics.
The recent one is very popular. It's received 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 scores. But the list tonight is going to be games that would normally receive a 6 or 7 out of 10. These are the types of games that we love here on Electronic Game Information. These games.
I would like to issue a little bit of a correction. The store is actually, if you would want to get there, you'd want to go on your computer, open up a browser, and go to store.playstation.com/en-us/home/games.
We're not even using the PSN, the acronym at all.
No, it's just the store.playstation.com.
Wow, that's the wildest stuff that you find.
en-us/home/games, and you want that en-us if you're in America. It's probably different in Canada or the UK or anywhere.
You wouldn't be the en.uk or en.maldives or
I would check that for you, but I know if I go to another country's website, it will break my browser, so I'm not going to try that.
en.za, South Africa.
Yeah, you'd need a VPN if you were trying to go to a South African version of the
No, you
PlayStation
just go
Store.
to ZA. That's the sort of the general dot, instead of .com or .web or .net, it's .za.
But you can't. You're right. But you can't type it in without a VPN.
Okay, well,
back
this
to you,
is the
Robby,
list.
and the list.
We do have some 6 or 7 out of 10 PlayStation games on sale on the store. Let's dive right into it. Let's start with Futuridium EP Deluxe. That's been marked down to $3.99. I already have, of course, received Futuridium EP Deluxe when it was a PlayStation Plus instant game collection game. And it was a cross-platform instant game collection game that was on PS Vita and PlayStation 4. It's a wonderful game where you sort of polygonal ship that you explore a very narrow, almost like a trench, which is another ship. And you shoot down these littler ships, and you blow up the bigger ship, and each level is like that. So it's sort of like Colony Wars, but if Colony Wars was sort of narrowed down into a very, if it was like, what do you call it when there's one on one side and the other?
One on what? One on one side and the other?
Yes, because you can't.
What do you call what? What do you call?
It's like a trap, but it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be a trap. It's just there's just one. If it's not a roof, it's not the floor.
The house, the walls.
No, the walls. It's like you're
just talking about the walls.
Just the walls. You'll visible space walls of Futuridium EP Deluxe for $3.
That's great. I'm glad we figured it out because I wasn't quite sure what you were talking about. I wasn't really paying attention to your words, but we still figured out it was the wall.
Yes. Edna and Harvey's New Eyes, the wonderful adventure game from the people over on the other side of the Atlantic at Daedalic Entertainment. Daedalic Entertainment, of course, is the people behind the Deponia series, which is not on the list because it is, of course, a very beloved point-and-click adventure series that has its audience. It's not my type of thing. It's very Eurocentric. I find that a lot of these very Euroized games, point-and-click games that come from Daedalic, kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth. But I won't say that Deponia is one of those games that will be on the list because it is a beloved game, whereas Edna and Harvey's New Eyes is not.
It's the list.
It's the list. Overlord's Fellowship of Evil is on the list. Overlord is, of course, a wonderful game by the people that made Overlord and Overlord 2 for the Xbox 360 and PC. Overlord Collection is often on sale on Steam and a number of other Steam key reselling sites. You can get it for as little as 50 cents, I've seen. It is a 6 or 7 out of 10 strategy action game where you are sort of controlling a group of goblins, but it's not like Goblin Commander. Goblin Commander, of course, on the original Xbox is not on the list not because it's not a 6 or 7 out of 10 game, but because it is currently not on sale on the PlayStation Store, Alan.
I didn't know it wasn't on sale, but now I get it. I'm
Well,
sorry,
Alan,
I didn't know that.
You'll be excited to hear, Alan, that Manhunt is on the list. Manhunt is $8.99.
I am excited by that.
It is one of the classic Rockstar games that asks the question: if you were a man that hunted or were being hunted, if you were the hunted or the hunt, if you were hunted, what would you do? And a lot of, it's a classic game. It's a 6 or 7 out of 10 classic game here on Electronic Game Information. It's $8.99. If you're hunted, embrace the hunted. Embrace the hunted.
Is it called the Huntsman?
No, it's the Manhunt.
Oh, the Manhunt.
It is the Manhunt.
Just the Manhunt. And that's Rockstar Games, the creators of Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is not on a list, but Alan, you'll be excited because
it might be on sale.
a Red Dead.
But it might be on sale. It might be on sale.
is Red Dead Revolver is on the list. Red
Now
Dead
that's
Revolver
that's
was
like
the
a-
precursor to the Red Dead Redemption series. Red
Got
Dead
it.
went through a number of publishers over. I think Rockstar ended up with it. It started out as a Capcom game that was sort of inspired by those old wonderful Italian Western films, spaghetti Westerns by people like Mario Brava and Sergio Leone.
But it didn't. But it was an old game.
It was an old
it didn't, and it
but it
didn't
had-
look good.
But it had a lot of heart.
And then Rockstar said, you know what? Why don't we buy this game and make it good? And
Right.
it became one of the most popular games that's ever existed, and it looks incredible.
It looks incredible, but it's missing something. I think it's missing that 6 or 7 out of 10 heart that games like Manhunt and Futurium and Overlord, Fellowship of Evil.
But it makes up for it with volumetric lighting and interesting characters that have wonderful AI and horses where you can see the muscles of the kick of the horse leg. If it kicked you, you could see the muscle in the ass of the horse. And
Alan, I would hate to see what a horse kick could do to you or me.
God forbid.
Well, let's move on down the list to Dark Crystal Tactics. Dark Crystal Tactics is, of course, based on the relaunch of the Dark Crystal franchise on Netflix, which has received. I haven't paid attention to the television, but I imagine that it hasn't made as much of a splash as some of the people, wonderful people over at the Jim Henson Company, would have liked it to make. And so the tie-in for the Dark Crystal Tactics does seem like it also fell on some soft ears. Is it possible to fall on soft ears, or is it hard ears?
You can fall on anything, and if you fall on soft, I'd prefer to fall. If I had to fall on two kinds of ears, I'd prefer to fall on the soft ear first, would be my top choice, and then the hard ear second, because I think the soft ear would feel soft.
Okay, but the soft ear would drown out drown out your voice, because it would absorb the voice. It would absorb the sound of you saying that Dark Crystal Tactics, which is on sale for $14.99, is actually closer to a 5 or 6 out of 10 game rather than the normal 6 or 7 out of 10 game that we were talking about on the list.
Right.
But if you fell on the hard ear, it might actually make you louder.
Yeah, God forbid.
So, Alan, one more game that's not on the list, but I do want to talk about a little bit is, of course, A Plague Tale: Innocence. We've talked about A Plague Tale: Innocence before on the show because I was so impressed by the rats physics that existed in that.
Right, but it's not on the list, is what I'm understanding.
It's not on the list, but I just thought I might just put a bug in your soft or hard ear.
Soft ear, please.
About the rats.
Go ahead.
This is the question.
I can hear you.
Is that what kind of a mind comes up with a game where you take control of a little boy who has psychokinetic powers over rats?
Are you describing psychonauts?
No, psychokinesis, telekinesis. Those are two different words. I believe that they mean the same thing. But it's terrifying. It's terrifying to think that one person could have all that control over a man, let alone a horde of medieval rats.
It's sick.
And they're all carrying the plague.
Yeah, well, you know how that goes. I don't think you should talk about it because it's not on the list, and it's sick.
It's not on the list, but it's on our minds. It's in our hearts, and it's A Plague Tale: Innocence. It is I'm going to go ahead and score it at 8 out of 10.
Okay, well, I don't want to be reminded of illness right now.
But it's not on the list.
No,
not like Killzone Shadowfall. And that was the list. Thank you for your insight, Alan. That was the list.
Was Killzone Shadowfall on the list? Because I didn't see it on the list.
Killzone Shadowfall was on the last. The strong 7 out of 10. Almost an 8 out of 10, but I would say more of a 7. Or are you bigger than me?
What was that?
You're bigger than me.
No, Robbie, I'm much smaller than you.
No,
when we stand side by side, I feel like I'm like a little,
your mouth,
like
your
miniature
lips,
poodle, and you're like a standard poodle.
Your ears look huge. Your ears look the size of my fingers.
No, they don't. What about now?
Well, take your hands off your ears. All right. How'd you think the show went, Alan?
Robby, I gotta say, I think this is one of the best episodes of EGI in EGI history, and I'm just so happy that I get to spend 2 nights talking
nights a week,
to
Alan.
Robby. Now it used to just be 1 week, and I think this is definitely the silver lining in the global tragedy.
Absolutely.
And I also think it's an interesting episode because I don't know if you noticed this, but Nathan Vegetable called in from a Tesla that was driving itself.
He could be in a lot of trouble. We don't control where the video files go, what the servers are done with. I assume that
We're not
Warner
liable for
Corporation,
that.
They will send that to the appropriate law enforcement, to Mayor Garcetti's office, and that will be taken care of in a swiftly and with extreme prejudice.
I hope
But
so.
we do appreciate Nathan Vegetable and everything that he does for the
Yeah.
show. He's
Yes.
been such a firm supporter. It will be a shame if he gets a big fine or his car gets taken away.
So many things could happen.
So we'll be back on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. Isn't that right, Alan?
That's my understanding of the situation. And
Okay.
I'm excited about that. It's like being around you twice a week is like being splashed with cold water, but it's also soothing, like being bathed in warm water.
Absolutely, and it's sort of like it's like like an ear that's not too hard or too soft. It's just right.
A perfect
And
ear.
it's important because that we talk about the timing of when the show is on, because if
confusing.
you're watching on Tuesday, it's at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. But if it's on Thursday, it's at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific time. So if you've got a show that you want to get a new audience for, one of the best things that you can do is to kind of have it come on at different times during the week. Keep them guessing so that people never know when it might come on. But if you're listening to us right now, you definitely know what's happened. So that was electronic game information. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Goodbye, Alan. And
And Tuesday.
And the Tuesday and the Thursday after that, and for several more weeks following.
And it's
Who
a
knows
different
what's
time every
gonna
night.
happen? We live in the moment. We are alive. We're full of blood. We're full of blood and bones and muscle and sinews and hope.